Crowsworn is a dark fantasy action metroidvania made by independent indie developer Mongoose Rodeo, based out of London, Ontario. Some of its platforming seems reminiscent of Hollow Knight on the surface, but its grim fantasy setting and faster-paced combat show tinges of inspiration from darker IPs like Bloodborne and Devil May Cry. The Kickstarter trailer ended up netting the game its own share of detractors, including but not limited to baseless accusations of plagiarism. Nope, not kidding. Someone actually tweeted that. I'm incredibly excited to see where this game goes, if only because Crowsworn seems to combine my two brightest loves, Gothic architecture and shooting the living shit out of anything that looks like it deserves it. Hollow Knight, Bloodborne, and Devil May Cry have been listed out as the game's primary inspirations, so I've pretty much already decided this is going to be my next fixation after Silksong. But I don't want to be lonely on this hill up here, so the least I'm gonna do is attempt to sell a few of you on it so you guys can be up here with me. Alright, let's get started. Crowsworn takes place in a grim fantasy world inhabited by men and monsters. Your protagonist is a masked plague doctor with a red hat, touting dual pistols and blowing nice magnum-sized holes into the heads of his or her or their enemies. Also couldn't help but notice these particular guns have mounted bayonets on them. That's pretty cool. We gonna start calling this game a Borderlands ripoff too then? Crowsworn is a metroidvania, meaning you can expect the standard aspects of that genre to hold true in Crowsworn as well. Movement abilities will unlock as you progress, allowing you to access areas you couldn't reach or get to before, map systems to make sure you don't get lost, fast traveling, currency system, and just about everything else you would expect. There is a dodge roll ability being used in the trailer a good few times, and in one of these clips, the player is actually shown rolling through an enemy with this dodge, leading me to believe you are given some iframes when dodging in true Souls fashion. In terms of actual attacking, your character is going to have a few options. You have what I'm assuming will be the player's main melee weapon, which is this really cool looking scythe. On the surface, it seems to have a standard 3-hit left-right-left sort of combo to start, which leads me to believe that heavier attacks and spicier combos will also be available to the player as the game unfolds. And seeing how this game pegs Devil May Cry as one of its inspirations, I'm expecting 30% of these combos to look anime and nonsensical as all fuck. Your character's primary means of ranged combat is a pair of pistols that fire concentrated blasts of euphoric badass sound design. The game's UI shows a reserve of 6 bullet cartridges, meaning these bullets are some big-ass magnum chonkers if you can only fit 3 of them in each gun. Jesus Christ. I'm also assuming the capacity of your guns can be upgraded at given points in the game, as well as its damage, firing rate, and even some other additional, albeit equally speculative perks that I really don't have any ground to say exists or not. One thing I can say is that the DMC inspiration definitely shows here because the UI echoes in resemblance to the bullets shown on Nero's UI in Devil May Cry 5. Nero's Blue Rose, however, is a 6-shooter with a coaxial mechanic that fires 2 bullets at once, and our Plague Doctor guy here, and I'm just gonna start calling him Dr. Sworn, has 2 guns which he flares about in a style that's a bit more Dante-esque. Once your guns are empty, the player will have to manually reload for a split second before resuming firing, so as to prevent the player from becoming a complete damage cannon, because that would just be unfair. That wouldn't be fun. But in the world of Crowsworn, it's not all blades and bullets because Dr. Sworn here has access to an arcane third combat option known as Corvian Powers. Essentially, these are your ultra-awesome black magic plague doctor abilities. You know, belching locusts and summoning hands from the ground type shit. We actually got a glimpse of one of these abilities in the Kickstarter trailer, where a hand seems to glide in from off-screen and pull an enemy towards the player. A few frames later, the same dark reddish tinge is being fired from the character's guns, leading me to believe there might actually be an ability that channels this magic into your guns and increases their damage in the form of some sort of charged shot upgrade. A couple days ago, I asked a question on Relyiea's livestream interview with the creative director of Mongoose Rodeo, and I actually got a much more detailed answer than I was expecting. Upgrading and augmenting your abilities are pretty much synonymous with hack and slash style games like these, and it doesn't look like Crowsworn is going to have any shortage of them. Upgrades are given to the player in the appearance of constellations, and to my knowledge, it seems certain constellations are revealed through exploring the game and collecting star fragments. Rebuilding a constellation will provide you with an extra round of unique upgrades, so the player is constantly rewarded with a steady stream of new toys to play with. In the same interview, the director actually did say the team wasn't necessarily attached to any of the number values in the upgrade system currently, but the nature of the upgrades themselves are pretty much par for the course and what you would expect, more or less. We get a quick look at some of what these upgrades would entail during the Kickstarter trailer, some of which includes increases in attack speed, damage, and a range increase on one ability called a Blood Slash, which sounds like it fits pretty well into the arcane Corvian magic category I was just describing earlier. The right-hand portion of the interface shows the character is able to slot in 3 of these upgrades at once, and with the potential to unlock more space for beefier upgrades to help you kill stuff deader. Yep, leaving that in. There seems to be another upgrade that's already locked in here, which is a perk called Quick Draw. And if I had to take an educated guess, this probably has something to do with increased firing rate or slightly decreased reload time. I'm always interested in seeing how games handle their upgrading systems, because I think building a good skill tree is one of the facets of game design that require the most delicacy. And it's really easy for power creep to settle in if something isn't balanced properly. Not every upgrade has to do with speed or damage. Some upgrades can augment certain parts of your character's abilities, such as the very last round in your magazine having an extra bit of power to it. I'm not too sure what the weapon variety looks like so far in Crowsworn, and I hope I'm not crucified for saying I kinda hope there isn't. I don't know, I've always been a fan of all the flexibility and movesets being built around a single weapon. The scythe by itself looks cool as shit. It's kinda difficult to not be cool as shit when you're walking around with a massive scythe. Point is, I feel like the game is heading in that direction, and if it is, then, cool, awesome. The grim fantasy setting and its gothic architecture borrow pretty heavily from games like Bloodborne and Devil May Cry. You're either exploring the heights of buildings where the steeples poke the sky, or you're trekking through the noxious muck of the sewer tunnels. And most if not all of the scenery is a drab and dreary Victorian wasteland inhabited and/or infested by the local nightmare fuel. Malnourished, baby-faced quadrupeds crawling out from under the sewers is just your average Tuesday. I mean, look at this. That's a baby. It's fucking terrifying. That's some Dead Space shit. Any evidence of sanity seems fleeting at best, and any village or settlement you come across seems just as depressed and as hopeless as everything else. There's jagged overgrowth pulsing beneath the floors, waterfalls of corrosive acid, and there's just a whole bunch of... The game goes pretty out of its way to make sure you know this isn't a friendly place. This is a place where men go to die. Perhaps there's a commentary to be explored about why exactly you're hunting the monsters that you are, while being dressed up in a full plague doctor's garb. Are you perhaps playing a role in exterminating some beastly plague, or is that too much like Bloodborne? Yeah, that's probably too much like Bloodborne, but hey, this game looks badass and I can't really help but speculate, so who cares? Who fucking gives a shit? Sue me. So yeah, that's just about all I have to say on Crowsworn currently, considering there's really not a lot to go on just yet because there's very limited content available for what the game actually is. And I don't want to speculate too much because I don't want to feel like the team is being pressured to put anything out immediately. If you are curious for more information that I didn't go over, there's an entire 2-hour VOD that Relyea put up just a couple days ago, interviewing the creative director of Mongoose Rodeo, and I've linked that in the description, and you should totally check that out if you're looking for more info. Otherwise, join my Discord server where you're allowed to say the word fuck. Okay, I'll see you in the next video. Take care.